Welcome everybody to the first of the 2021-22 Camberley Chess Club Tuesday Zoom meetings, and it's a great pleasure to have Andrew Martin back with us, I think this evening's topic is pawn structures. So I will pass over to you, Andrew, and thank you very much for coming and joining us yet again, and we really appreciate it. And I'll pass over to yourself.
Right, okay, thank you very much. Well, as usual, during these lectures, I'm going to give a brief introductory slide, if I can find it. Here it is. And we'll try and keep the tone of the whole lecture somewhat light-hearted and easy to understand. So, pawn structure. Okay, so the pawn structure may take many forms, governs what we can and cannot, should or shouldn't do in a position, and general rules of thumb can be formed about each type of pawn structure, which may or may not help you, because chess sometimes can be a very specific game. You can't just, you know, narrow it down to rules of thumb. But nevertheless, pawn structure also guides us towards a plan. Now, have I missed anything out there? What do you think? It's a very brief list. I tried to, reduce it to the absolute minimum. To me, that's kind of a logical list, what we should be considering when we look at the pawn structure in any given game. Anybody got anything to add to that? Right, okay, so let's crack on then. Lovely. And I need to find the right slide because there's an awful lot of slides here. Let's try this one. Yeah, okay. So we're going to start with a fairly simple example. This is a game from Lloyd's Bank Masters tournament back in 1984 between international master David Strauss, who I think was born in this country. He may even have been born in Loughton in Essex. And he's playing Grandmaster Danny King, who in 1984, I'm not sure whether he was a GM at that point, but it's quite an interesting game, and pawn structure makes a difference in this game. So, okay, off we go. And Strauss opened with his usual knight f3, and black played d5, d4, and King played c5. I think he was quite fond of this move early in his playing career. White played c4, black played e6, which is, of course, the Tarrasch variation of the Queen's Gambit. White takes on d5, and black takes back. So already we have got a somewhat controversial pawn structure at the start of the game. What is likely to happen here? Then anybody like to hazard a guess? What is likely to happen to the pawn structure pretty quickly in general?
Black's going to get an isolated queen pawn.
That's it.
Black is likely to inherit an isolated queen's pawn. Yes. Okay. So an isolated queen's pawn really crops up in many forms, in many ways, many different openings with both white and black. And it's really the first topic for discussion this evening because it is so common. Now, in this particular guise, the Tarrasch variation, there are a number of little subtleties that have to be observed. And well, white plays g3. Now, if white had played knight c3 here, how would that change the position? Does anybody know how that slightly changes the position? Because in this game, Strauss actually delays knight c3 for a little while. Does anybody know why he would do that? I mean, there doesn't seem to be any particular difference between, say, knight c3 here, knight c6, g3, and the game position. Well, in fact, we've just lost one move. Does anybody know the difference?
Is it that if black captures on d4, white can continue to fianchetto? You'd have to be extremely careful, but with knight bd2 and then knight b3 or something like that.
Yeah, that's one thing you could certainly look to do later on. You could put your knight on b3. I'm
not saying
probably...
Is the issue if white plays knight c3, then if he gets into If he needs to take on c5, d takes c5, then he's going to get hit with d4.
That's an interesting reason. Yes, that is a possible reason. Sorry, I can't get rid of the soundbar in the background on my television. I can't shut it up, but never mind. It's quiet now. Yeah, that's one of the reasons actually. If white takes on c5, then d4 could be an issue. We'll come to that in a minute because that's called the Tarrasch gambit. But that's a few moves down the line. No, it's this move. White actually avoids an annoying line that black can play, called the Swedish variation. Does anybody know what that is?
Is that c4?
Yes, it's c4 at some point. The point is now that c4 isn't particularly good because one of the main ideas of this line is to push the queenside pawns up and to hit a knight on c3 en route. But I don't think black can do that now. And white can hit at those pawns very effectively with a move like b3 quite quickly. And there's also knight e5 to consider. So white plays this move in slightly improved circumstances by not playing knight c3 at the earliest stage. And of course, b3 can also be played. It's a small thing, but actually at high levels, these small things actually make a difference. Just to contrast this, if white goes, let me see, knight c3 here, black plays knight c6, white goes g3, then I think that is a better move. And one of the reasons is that black plays bishop b4. I think that is the Swedish variation, and then follows up with knight e7. And we get a completely different type of position to the normal Tarrasch because black, well, is that an isolated pawn? I suppose you could call it an isolated pawn, but it's a bit more difficult for white to attack. So anyway, that's another line. In this game, Strauss played g3. So we quickly got a main line. With white playing knight to c3, black castles. And now this is the real point of departure in the main line of the Tarrasch. Anybody play the Tarrasch here?
I play, but the Hennig-Schara gambit usually, if I get the chance.
Again, that's a completely different animal to this one, isn't it?
Mm.
That's a much sharper line. This one is
Shepley plays the Tarrasch.
he's not here tonight, is he?
I think so.
No.
Tarrasch.
I've played it a bit in the past.
And how have you found it?
That's good. It quite suited me. I like sort of open ball positions with lots of piece activity.
So let's say white takes this pawn. I mean that was actually the first way that white was dealing with the Tarrasch. I think Rubinstein was the first person to come up with that idea, and of course that isolates the pawn straight away. Now, why would that not be as popular these days as the move Strauss played, which was bishop g5? What option does black have? After d takes c5, that he wouldn't normally have?
Take d4.
You can push.
Yeah, this is the famous Tarrasch gambit.
Is it?
Yes, I think it is. It is. And it's a question of taste as to whether you like this or not.
So sorry to be dim. Is it the von Hennig-Schara? Is that the same?
No.
No,
All
it's
right.
different.
You've got to force me to go into reverse.
Oh,
Von
well,
Hennig-Schara, the von Hennig-Schara actually cannot be played against this move order, which is another reason for.
but I can't
playing
play it because I don't
F3.
know what it is.
Oh, well, I'll show you.
It's when it's knight c3.
I'll have to go all the way right back to the beginning first move.
Oh, Andrew.
This could be a very long lecture. The von Hennig-Schara gambit starts like this. White puts his knight on c3, black plays c5, white
Pawn
takes on
take,
d5, and now
and
black takes on
cd4.
d4,
That's it.
taking immediate advantage of this position of this knight.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is Leonard Barden country. Yes.
If you're old enough to remember the Guardian chess book, which unfortunately I am. And white now can play queen takes d4 or queen a4 check. I think that's supposed to be the
Okay.
Yeah.
best. Anyway, let's go back to our game. We're not going to get very far. So all the way back now because Strauss opened knight f3. So here we go again. Bang, 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 and we're in the main line. Yes, the Tarrasch Gambit. This is actually the Tarrasch Gambit. D takes C5, D4. And that's one of the reasons why D takes C5 isn't more popular. Because when you think about it, D takes C5 is the most natural move, isn't it? Because it isolates the pawn straight away. The pawn immediately becomes a target because white's queen's on it, the knight on it. Okay, white's not attacking it directly, but you know what I mean. But this move D4 is not totally easy to meet. And if white goes knight A4, which he's supposed to do,
Yeah, I5.
you play, I think, bishop F5. And he plays bishop F4, and then I think you're supposed to go queen D5, if I'm not mistaken, or is it bishop E4 first? Anyway, the position gets quite sharp. I actually don't know how to assess this. I imagine at club level it would work quite well for black, because black puts his queen on D5, he puts his rooks in the middle, you've got a clear plan. Okay, you're a pawn down, but what the hell? Get good counterplay in the center. A lot of tricks and traps in that line. So for that reason, I suppose for pragmatic reasons, really, white just basically normally decides to avoid that and either plays as Strauss did in the game, bishop G5, or another good move is B3. Really, it's totally a question of choice. Eventually, white will come round to attacking this pawn, and it's the weakness and the strength of that pawn on which the Tarrasch stands or falls, really. So when you've got the isolated pawn, I mean, what should you be thinking about doing when you are the owner of an isolated queen's pawn?
Push it.
Yeah, advance it.
I don't see that pawn advancing very rapidly in this position.
Protect it.
Seems to be blocked.
Defend it.
Maybe I'm going blind.
Put the rooks on the files each side of the pawn.
Ah,
Yes, that's a good answer.
Mhm.
yes. You can play on the adjacent files.
E8
Mm.
and C8 for the black's rooks.
I think above all, you've got to play actively, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you mustn't swap the pieces off. No, not
Yep.
too many.
It becomes too weak.
Yes, in an
Progressively.
end game, the weakness of the isolated pawn is highlighted, definitely.
Yes.
Presumably you want to
You
keep
can
the
angle for
light.
certain end. You can angle for certain endings. I mean, rook endings might not be too bad, or a queen ending, but certainly endings where white's got white retains his light square bishop are probably to be avoided at all cost.
Yeah.
Pieces that can actually attack the pawn and win it. So white's already got an interesting decision to make, and actually these days bishop G5 at master level is by far the most common move. Now, why would that be? I mean, that is a supremely logical move.
It's attacking one of the defenders.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
D5 pawn.
exactly. Yes, white's threatening to take away a defender of the pawn at the drop of a hat, really.
You're also preparing E3.
Yes, you could be preparing E3.
So that if black takes, we take back with a pawn. But then again, maybe with an isolated pawn, you want to put the knight on D4 rather than play E takes D4.
Well, black plays C takes D4 again, which is the main line. Black definitely has choices here. Black doesn't need mechanically just to take that pawn. He can also play C4 here. That's a very sharp variation. And then white goes knight E5, and then black goes bishop E6. Again, all this stuff is a question of taste. White can. I'll be talking about hooks in a pawn center later on, where white can hook onto the opponent's pawn chain. Here, white can hook on by playing B3 or E4. For black, I don't know. It's a question of taste. This is not so bad for black. You just have to know it. But Danny King took on D4, and that's good for us because we reach an absolutely classic isolated queen's pawn position coming up. H6 is the main line, and now bishop E3. Bishop, well, you can play bishop, you can, but then black's attacking this knight.
Okay.
Which actually stops you from taking the pawn. I mean, obviously, white can play something like this and try and something similar to this happens in the game. And you can see the isolated pawn has now been replaced by hanging pawns. I suppose black is all right here. I don't know. Black's got a very strong dark square bishop.
Yeah.
it's actually quite subtle, you know, the way that I mean, I think most players would prefer to be white. You've got clear target on the c file. You've got the knight coming into c5 at the right moment. But it's not that easy actually to put into practice these plans because this bishop on f6 is so strong. So anyway, for that reason, in the game, Strauss just plays bishop e3, and I think that is the main line. And now king plays rook e8. Again, a very standard move. Black's trying to get as active as possible to compensate for the isolated pawn. And now Strauss plays, well, what I think is a good continuation. Gives white a solid edge without too much trouble. He plays rook c1, bishop f8. When Black plays that move, what might Black be thinking about?
Rook e3.
Yeah, it's somehow that move could become attractive at some point.
And then knight g4 and stuff like that.
Yeah, at some point, but I don't think you can do it now, can you? I don't think you can do it right away. Anyway, Strauss moves into action. Knight takes c6, b takes c6. Can we predict his next move, please?
Knight a4.
That didn't take you long. Perhaps you'd like to explain it for the crowd, Colin.
Well, you're just trying to control c5, really.
Well, there's more to it than that. You're quite right, of course.
Attacking
When I play
c6 as
bishop
well.
c5 next, and then go into c5 with his knight after and exchange the dark squared bishops.
Does come with tempo.
I think you're attacking the pawn on c6 as well, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's going to defend that.
Also, you could be threatening to put a piece in front of the weak pawn on d5. You could be threatening bishop d4. I mean, one strategy against the isolated pawn is to blockade it. Of course, there's no isolated pawn here, unless you consider that isolated. It may be, because it can't be defended by another pawn. But of course, we've got traditional hanging pawns here. I quite like this way of playing for white. I think with the dark square bishops on the board, I think this is probably better for white. And as Colin says, maybe put the bishop in on c5 first, exchange the light dark square bishops, and then you can put a knight in on c5. This could be a very effective way of playing the position. Anyway,
this is much like a structure you get from the minority attack against in the Queen's Gambit exchange variation.
it is, except white hasn't needed to play a minority attack, has he?
No, I know, but you know, with the pawn on c6 and d5.
Yeah, I mean, the question really for me is, why should Black ever go in for this position? Because it looks quite miserable. I mean, if I turn the ball round, let's flip the ball for a second. There don't seem to be many objects of attack for Black in White's position. I mean, maybe e2 is a little bit weak, but Black's got to get through that bishop. Maybe White's king is a bit weak. I know that seems fantastic, but if Black could only exchange those light square bishops, he'd be in business. Well, it's not all doom and gloom. Anyway, Danny King liked this position. He played Queen A5. And you might have to do a bit of work in a minute, because Strauss snapped off that pawn.
Allowing bishop d7.
Allowing bishop d7, correct. Right, okay. So what did Strauss have in mind here? And you might need to think about this, because he obviously went in for this voluntarily. And I don't think it's quite as simple as it might seem.
You didn't go rook takes f6, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Colin.
Yeah. But bishop takes a4 against that.
Yeah.
You've got to calculate it. You've got to calculate it.
Yeah. Rook takes f6 looks the best move, because then you're winning on d5, aren't you?
Well,
Bishop takes a4, attacks the queen.
Yeah, attack.
then
Queen
b3.
take b5.
So rook f6,
B3.
bishop a4, b3.
It's interesting because
And of course, h6 falls as well.
there was a FIDE trainer seminar this weekend run by Rob Wilmoth, and I wasn't able to. I mean, I just hopped into one or two of the sessions, and one of the sessions was on calculation by Jakob Agard, right? And he was talking about the way to calculate in any position. I mean, this position needs calculation. You can't just say bash out rook takes f6 and say it's a good move. You've got to really actually, or something like that. You've actually got to calculate it.
Yeah.
So
Six
he
isn't
said,
hanging.
Is there
he said
something in Bishop
the
D2?
first and most important thing to do was to take it slowly.
Hmm.
To isolate the candidate moves in the position and then to take the calculation slowly. And not just rush into things, because there might be more than one move in the position which needs your attention, which could be hidden. Because to me, rook takes f6 is the first thought for most players. Isn't it? You know, once you get to a certain level, you think rook takes f6, yes, please. But is that right?
I wouldn't have been taking the pawn on c6 personally. I would have just been going in on c5.
Yep, me too.
I mean, it's
What happens after bishop
it looks
d5?
risky, doesn't it?
Well, that hasn't happened. It didn't happen for a reason.
Right.
Andy, can you play bishop d2 here?
Yeah, I was looking at that.
The
Queen's
point of
got to
which
go
is
back to d8, hasn't it?
Queen b5.
Take the queen.
Queen
And then he's
b5.
got rook a6. Although he
Queen
could
B,
play
does be rook a6.
But then, yeah.
yeah,
Surreal, isn't
Bishop
it?
that's
d2,
probably a draw.
Queen b5.
Actually, this is not an easy question. Actually, this is not a simple question. Rook takes f6 is everybody's first thought. Okay, what are the other moves apart from rook takes f6? Let's take it stage by stage. Rook takes f6, okay. And what else? What else have we got?
Someone said bishop d2.
Yes, bishop d2. Okay, bishop d2. Yes, certainly. And I think black's got to play queen b5 after that.
I guess rook c5 might be a move, but it doesn't look very promising somehow.
I would have thought that rook will stay on the board for about 1 microsecond.
Something like that. Yeah. If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Well, you play queen takes a4 then.
There's also queen a4, of course.
Oh,
Yes.
true.
Anything else apart from those moves? It doesn't seem as though there might be very many moves for white, does it?
No.
So if we go
Okay, so did he play rook f6 or bishop d2? What do you think?
Bishop d2.
Bishop d2.
He did. And then he played queen b5.
Ooh.
What now?
He's walking a tightrope.
Yeah, it's an interesting game, all right.
Well, now rook takes f6. No?
Well, what's the difference?
Well, you got knight c3.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about c3.
Of course, he can take on a4 after rook takes f6.
Then
b3 hits the queen.
Hey?
Or after rook f6.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Oh, that's cunning.
Black had better get this right, or he could end up as simply a pawn down with a rotten position. Anybody got any thoughts?
Oh, rook f6, queen a4, b3.
Rook takes f6 was played by Strauss. And Danny King, rather shockingly, took the rook.
Oh.
yeah.
Now, okay, so what was his objection to this?
Well,
You
can't
said
you?
b3, something.
b3.
Well, why not swap off queens and rook a6?
Yes, I think it was the vision of this ending that he wasn't very attracted by. Takes, and now, well, I think you're going to put
rook f4 is.
why not
rook
put the
F4.
rook here?
f5.
Well, rook takes e2.
Yeah, and then bishop c3.
Uh-huh.
This is a extremely unpleasant position for black.
I knew that isolated pawn would get in the way.
Almost miraculously, white has managed to train his sights on the isolated pawn with the rook. Yeah, I think black's just dropping the pawn here, isn't it? Back we go. Anything else? Yeah, I think that's simple. It's a simple line. That was the reason he didn't do it. And just get into a very unpleasant endgame. Boy, you're just going to be a pawn down, aren't you?
Yep.
So actually, good calculation there by Strauss when he played rook takes c6, because he would have to have seen that. And actually, this is quite a confusing position, you know, with all those pieces on the diagonal, isn't it? Optically, it's quite difficult to calculate. It's a very unusual situation, you know, this sort of thing. Very unusual indeed. So what happened? Okay, so he allowed rook takes f6, g takes f6. Now, white played knight c3, as Colin said. Queen takes b2, knight takes d5, and suddenly it's looking pretty unpleasant for black.
Worried.
Although actually, Danny goes wrong in a move or two's time. He can still hold this position, but it's really difficult.
He's threatening bishop c3, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, he played rook a c8, which I presume was to stop bishop c3. But I think he could have played bishop g7 here, as far as I remember.
His bishop takes h6 possible against that.
Don't forget, f6 is covered by the black queen.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Can the knight go somewhere, discover a check? Or
Well, if minimum you can play knight c7, can't you? But I think probably you play here first.
Yeah.
But what's happening?
Ooh.
I mean,
I think black could reach here. Sorry.
Swap off a knight e7 check.
Knight c.
Yeah. Well, then you get an uncomfortable ending, don't you? So takes here. Oh yeah, that wins, doesn't it?
Bishop take a8, and I don't know, take the rook. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Takes a8.
No, well, not necessarily. Yeah.
This must win, I guess.
I'm not sure that's winning for white.
No, I think.
Well, he's exchange up. Don't forget, clear exchange up.
No, he's
Oh
not.
no, he's not. No, he's not.
He's not.
He's going blind.
No,
Oh well, I would have. Okay, well, can we agree it's better for white?
A little.
Yes, not very much.
In Andrew's hands, it would be.
I think white would have good winning chances here, but it's not that much better. You're right. So that's why he should probably go bishop g7. But again, it's quite difficult to play that move. I mean, I can't see myself playing that move with any pleasure in a game. Bishop g7. It's just so horrible, isn't it? And also after that, well, white could also go here. There's no need to get fancy with bishop c3. That also must be possible.
Yes.
And just take the exchange back.
Yeah, that's no hardship, is it? So.
Well, white would. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess he plays here. What do you do now?
Half the rook.
Okay, and then black takes back with the bishop, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now you have to play some move like this.
Hang on, the queen's. Oh no.
Queen for queen.
Well, I mean, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, takes here. Again, it's not going to be that easy for white to win, is it? Which actually brings us to another interesting observation about isolated queen's pawn positions. They can be extremely tactical, with the defender trying to rid himself of the weakness at all costs, with sharp play, and the guy playing against the pawn, having to indulge in tactical complications when perhaps they don't want to. Anyway, he played rook a c8. Now, can we finish this job? Maybe. What do you think happened next?
Is bishop c3 a move?
C3, yeah.
That's sweet.
Well done. The point being?
Well, f6 is no longer defended, but there may be more to it than that.
Well, the bishop's hanging on d7.
That's right.
Oh, right. I knew that.
Very
really.
unpleasant. Black can't join all the dots in this game. He comes close, but he can't do it. So he takes. White took. King into the corner, not very nice. Bang! In comes the queen.
Ooh.
Rook E7, and now can we predict White's next move?
No.
Well, why not? You should be able to.
Queen D8.
It's coming towards the end for poor Black.
Queen F5.
Queen F5. That is
F5.
unpleasant.
Oh.
That is unpleasant. Black played the only move. Now let's see if you can finish this off. There's a little combination by which White finishes Black off. Again, it's a question of calculation.
Is Queen C2 a defence as well?
Well, then he just goes E4, I guess, or Bishop E4. Even so, Bishop E4, isn't it?
Oh yes.
You could go knight
If
D5,
you
couldn't
went,
you?
I mean, I could just go here. Couldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have to sacrifice your queen, but that's wonderful. Yes, King G7. What was the other move you were talking about?
Queen.
No, knight D5.
Why do you want to do that when you can mate?
Being greedy, James.
I prefer to end the game.
Is that
rather
Philip
than
Ware? Just tell him to.
prolong it.
Bishop E4.
That doesn't threaten anything, does it?
Knight H5.
Okay, let's you're rushing a bit. You're not listening to Agard's calculation rules. The first one of which is slow down. You've got all the right ideas. It's just like Morecambe and Wise. You've got to put them in the right order.
Not necessarily in the right, order.
Playing all the right notes in the wrong order.
That's it. You hit it there, Colin. You've got to. Now, come on. There's a nice little combination to finish this game.
Knight H5.
All right. Well, Black's choice is fairly limited after that. Kick it to the corner.
Bishop E4.
Bishop E4. He's got to sack the exchange.
Wildly popular.
Queen F6 check.
No.
Queen F6.
Queen F6.
Well, aren't the knight and the queen tripping over each other's toes then?
Eh?
Well, okay. Knight H5. Okay. King G8. Finish me off.
Bishop E4.
Queen G4 check.
I want something that doesn't prolong the game. Ends it here and now.
Queen G4 check.
And now what?
Knight F6. Knight F6 threatens mate.
Bishop E7.
Consider yourself blocked.
No, that's not that. Even
That's
I
not
can.
right, is it?
It is right.
Oh,
Eh?
You've subtly changed the position.
Queen F5.
Queen F.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and the rook falls.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Black resigned. You sound disappointed. I thought that was quite a good game.
Very good game.
It's a tremendous game.
Well, it was a game where actually Black must have underestimated rook takes C6.
Yeah.
Now, if we just drop back to the position there, again, it was all about the weaknesses, wasn't it? He tried to go tactical, perhaps slightly too early, Black. I mean, I think actually you should just play Bishop D7 and try and hang on.
yeah.
Queen A5 was premature.
Queen A5 was just a bad move, I think, but it took a pretty good play to actually demonstrate that. Bishop D7, and then I guess White plays Bishop C5, doesn't he?
Yep.
Exchanges the dark square bishops and puts his knight in on C5 or something like that. But even so, it's not totally easy for White to demonstrate a clear advantage. But Black's problems in this game stem from his pawn structure. This is perhaps why this line is not everybody's cup of tea. You don't see many club players playing the Tarrasch. It's not completely easy to play. It's all right to say you've got weak pawns you must play actively, but it's really not difficult to do. It takes masterly precision to do that. And precision is probably what is lacking at club level, I would say.
It's
Right.
a credit card.
Well, can you come and see to it?
No.
Okay. Right. Okay. So now let's go on.
Messages from the beyond.
All right. Let's have a look. What should we do next?
I'm assuming you muted me because you thought it was me, but I didn't say a word.
This next game is a really good game. And it's another Queen's Gambit. It's a game between Kalai and Yusupov. And it features a completely different type of pawn structure, which John actually talked about earlier. That is the so-called minority attack on the black queen side. So we quickly get to this position. I presume, does anybody want these moves explaining?
No.
The standard Queen's Gambit exchange variation, where white is getting his pieces out in apple pie order, and yeah, black doesn't feel too much discomfort. And one of the main nuances in this position is you're waiting to develop your queen to c2 for black to play c6. You wait for c6 before you put your queen on c2 in this line, because one of the reasons might be that black can play c5 at the right moment in one move with your queen on c2, and then your queen might be slightly misplaced. So that's why white is playing in this manner. Anyway, black can play rook e8, castle, so we're still not seeing queen c2. c6, hey presto, he plays queen c2. So there we are. And black plays knight f8. So this is all bog standard stuff in the Queen's Gambit exchange variation. A lot of players like this with white. You'll notice we've got a kind of static pawn formation, but one in which white has a couple of hooks on the position, what I call ways into black's camp. Now, what might they be? How does white leave open position?
B5.
Sorry?
B5. At the right
It's
moment.
illegal.
Well,
B4, B5.
Yes.
A3, B4.
B4, B5. That's one way. The so-called minority.
Yeah, we could
attack.
take it at the moment.
White has two moves in a row as well, which is also slightly.
Is de rigueur.
I think the other option is F3 and E4, isn't it?
Yes, and that also takes a little bit of preparation, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to listen to your video on it.
As Botvinnik used to play. Well, there are a lot of moves in this variation, a lot of moves that white can play. Again, it's purely a question of taste as to what you play. Now, white in this game,
H3 is trendy.
Yeah, H3, or you can play Rook A1, or you can go for Knight E5, the Pillsbury attack.
Rook B1.
Rook AB1 is probably the most direct.
Yeah.
Intending the minority attack. Anyway, Yusupov plays Bishop D6, and now white plays a pretty unusual move. Now, if he goes B4, which is the standard move, clearly, what do you think black would do? Does anybody know what black does here?
A5.
A6.
I mean, A5, does that not help white?
Makes it worse.
Does that make it easier for white to leave open?
Can you play? You probably couldn't play C5 because of the isolated pawn problem again.
It just loses a pawn.
Yeah, but yeah, back with Bishop H2, don't you?
I mean, what it boils down to is
Bishop G4.
Should you play A6 or not? Yeah, Bishop G. I'm sure Bishop G4. Bishop G4 is probably the right move.
Is that actually threatening to take on F3?
Yeah, pretty sure it is.
Yeah, so if nothing else, it sort of offers counterplay, however.
Well, that's exactly what black desires in this variation. Yusupov manages to really play this game tremendously well, as you're going to see. Bishop G4, but again, it all boils down here. Bishop G4, let's say he goes Knight D2. Now, if we return to the question here, do you want to play A6 or not?
Yes, I'd say yes.
Well, okay, you know what he's going to do, of course. When you play A6, he's going to go there.
Yeah.
Now, has this helped or hindered matters?
I think it's helped because you try and swap off the pawns on the weak side of the board.
So what would you continue with here?
We play at B5.
B5.
It
possibly.
Well,
has to
that's
be-
an interesting move, isn't it? B5 is an interesting move. Of course, it does expose the C5 square, doesn't it? It does expose this square.
I think I would be nervous of getting such a static structure, and then maybe E4 would come in time. I don't,
I'm slightly worried about a move like knight E2, but I might be.
well.
Well, I'm sure there are loads of games that have been played either way. Black either plays A6 or he doesn't. Anyway, the point is that Calais, who's quite a strong IM, played it in a completely different way here. He played bishop, not there, sorry, hang on a minute. He played bishop F5.
Hey?
Which is a move I hadn't seen very often, but there's a definite logic behind it.
This happens in a Scotch fortnights. This sort of manoeuvre.
You mean B4 didn't come? Well, not yet.
Not yet. He delays it. Now, why do you think he does that?
To stop the black counterplay with the bishop? I don't know.
Precisely. He stops bishop G4. So it's actually quite an interesting move. Anyway, Yusupov played knight G6. Now White played B4. So White is arguing that, you know, that this bishop F5 move is interrupting Black's counterplay on the king side. Also, this bishop can be quite annoying for White at certain points when the attack starts to rage around the White king, which amazingly it does in this game, as you're going to see. It doesn't look as though there's any, you know, semblance of a Black attack at the moment, but it arrives quite quickly. So A6, there we are, and now White went on with A4. Now, what do you think Black played next?
Queen E7.
Queen E7, yeah.
H6.
Well, you've got a double attack on the B pawn, but I also wanted to try and strengthen the center at some point after the pawn maneuvering clarifies.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you go Queen E7, he's going to push on B5 for sure.
Well, whose side are you on anyway? Okay. Well,
Does he go H6?
Well, let's first try and determine that this doesn't really help Black that much, does it? The position of the Queen on E7. I'm not sure how that helped.
I was, if it had been my game, I would have been tantamount to saying, holding my breath, waiting for, you know.
Well, Black played B5.
He did, yeah.
As recommended by me about 10 minutes ago.
Well, it's a controversial move. Why might it be better here with the bishop on F5 than before with the bishop on D3 or G4, for
I
instance?
suppose we could lure the queen away and get the A file for our own use if he takes on B5.
Well, I think actually the main reason is it's slightly easier for Black to defend this pawn, isn't it? That's the only real object of attack for White in Black's position. Backward pawn on a half-open file. You know, you'd think that White should be able to train his sights on that pawn. Black could easily defend it actually in this position with maybe a move like Rook C8. Having said that, it is a sharp position, and White took on C8. Rook takes, and now Knight E2. Well, what next?
Why didn't Black take with the C pawn instead of the A pawn?
Well, that would have given him two weak pawns, wouldn't it?
Two bad pawns.
Open
You've got a weak pawn here, and you've got a weak pawn here, and that I don't think looks very pleasant. I mean, White could maybe just move his queen, maybe Queen B3. I mean, there might be a better move than that, but that seems pretty strong to me.
Or bishop takes F6 and knight D5.
No, because a bishop takes H2.
No, but if you've got bishop F6, queen F6, then knight D5.
Yeah.
No, that loses a piece to Rook takes queen.
And I see those moves played out on the board. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
Well, do you really want to see them? Do you really want?
No, we don't need to see that.
I'd rather not see them.
All right.
Oh, I
agree
see
with
what
you.
you mean. Yeah, bishop takes h2 and then, yeah, okay, double attack. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, rook c4 is possible there, is it?
Well,
Because you can't go knight d2 because of bishop h2, I assume.
I can play bishop takes f6, can't I? But you have to take back with your g pawn. I mean, it's pretty ugly.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty ugly. Okay.
So has that answered your question, Paul?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that, at least. So what did black play here? I mean, actually, it's interesting. A lot of people would prefer to be white here because white seems to have the king side covered. There's a big glaring weakness on c6.
Yep.
But on the other hand, black is not without counterplay, as we're going to see.
What about just playing h6, Andy?
He did go h6.
Yeah.
Which kind of forces the issue, doesn't it? You've got to chop that off. Queen takes. Knight c1. Okay, well, we can see what he's doing.
I mean, it's c5.
Well, I mean, sometimes the threat is stronger than the execution. Just monitoring c5 is unpleasant enough. I mean, maybe just knight d3 and rook a1.
Yeah.
a6. You know, black's got to do something pretty quick. So
knight h4.
What did Yusuf do?
Knight h4.
I mean, you can't just sit there and let those moves happen. So he did play knight h4. Takes. I mean, white probably thought to himself, well, I'm never going to get mated here because too many pieces coming off the board. Okay, now we've got a change in the nature of the pawn structure, which helps black.
h5, h4.
Ooh.
Or rook e4 threatening rook h4. I don't know.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
so
that's clever.
Interesting suggestions.
Rook e4.
The crowd cried out for more.
So what did black play? We've had 2 suggestions already.
Like rook e4.
All I can say is it's easy to become intoxicated with moves like rook e4.
Might have knight f4 against that.
Well, hang on. In this position, it's white's move. It's black. It's black's move. Sorry, I didn't get muddled up.
The problem with black is he's got a permanent weakness here. You cannot get rid of that. So whatever you do has got to be fairly final, because otherwise that pawn's just going to drop in some endgame. I mean, white will just come to rook a1, rook a6, then take you to the cleaners. So, yeah, you've got to be accurate here.
Oh, there isn't a perpetual. I was just going to say take on e3, take on g3, and then fast back with the queen.
Then resign after queen g2.
Queen g2.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I knew that.
I might be half awake at this time, but I saw that.
h5 does look quite reasonable.
Yes, very good. And this kind of illustrates another rule about pawn formations. Always look for hooks on the enemy pawn structure. You know, how can I lever my way into the position? And h5 is just a really good move. But of course, there's a long way to go before black can prosecute a winning attack here. But he is probably threatening, right, h4, h takes g3, and then bishop takes g3.
Yeah.
You know, he might be threatening that and whip off all the pawns.
And queen takes e3.
Things like that. He gets g3, gets e3, and so on. So queen e2 to cover it. Up comes rook e6. Queen f3. h4. Rook fe1. Right. So black's made a bit of progress, but white seems to still be defending. So what should come next?
Rook h6.
Well,
no.
Well, why not, as a matter of interest?
I'm sure I'll think of something in a minute.
Queen g2.
King g2. Threatening exchanges.
Then he goes queen f5.
The
knight is attacked.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. It is.
Well, it looks logical to me. I mean, can white play e4 in that final position? I don't know. Of course, the pawn structure changes again. It does. Let's see that line. Rook here.
Yeah.
Now he's got to play Queen G2, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not mate, but you need nerves of steel to defend that position.
Can you take the pawn then, Andy?
Well, this move, you mean?
We'll
Now,
just
now take
H4.
the pawn.
Do you take?
No, queen takes H2. Take his pawn.
Queen takes H2.
No, I don't understand that pawn takes pawn. That doesn't really make any difference. Surely I can just take back it.
Yeah, I think you've got to play that.
And then he
Then
goes
perhaps
Queen
Queen
F5.
F5
now.
now.
Can I play this? I don't know. I think it's difficult for black to break through here. Interesting variation, though. Well, so did he play Rook H6 is the question.
Probably not.
Rook G6?
F6.
Well, against Rook G6, I could maybe even play Knight F4.
Yeah, that's right.
What about Rook F6?
Exactly.
Well, then I go Queen G2, don't I? Which is my main defensive idea. Yusupov again played a really good move. He played here.
Good what?
He played Rook C E8. Now, given the preceding discussion, can you see why he does this?
No, top E4.
Exactly. He's planning to go into the previous line, but not allowing white to play E4 at the end. So, in fact, it's far cleverer than it looks. Just doubling the rook on the closed file. Anyway, white played Rook C1. And now events took their course.
Queen G2.
Well, is he threatening anything? Is he actually threatening something? Can you, okay, say it's your move. What do? Can you polish me off?
No.
You give a check, but so what? There might be a way to polish him off, starting with bishop takes G3.
Ooh.
No, but I don't think that works because he goes pawn takes Queen H2, King F1, Rook F6, Knight F4, and blocks you. Well, Rook A1 was played, and white said to black, well, what have you got?
And he said, well, what do you want?
Well, now, what next? This game's hotting up a bit. It's interesting that black has managed to deflect any play on the queen side away from white, and now white's forced to think about defending. So, but the next move is also important. What did he do?
Rook F6.
Well, I've got to go Queen G2 against that.
Then Queen F5.
Well, is this helping? I don't know. What's how you just taking all your pieces away from the attack, aren't you?
It hits the knight. It's worth.
I'm not even sure I can't play Knight F4 in that position.
Oh, I think you can, but since it's you.
Rook E6.
Yeah. Nice.
Queen G2. Queen F5. In. Well, you know, black was probably absolutely delighted to see that move. Why would that be?
So you can take it and they're not building up on C6.
Yeah, precisely. You're actually helping to dissolve your pawn weaknesses.
Yeah.
Now I've got a pass pawn. Pawn structure is really governing some of the decisions made in this game, and now black must press ahead with the attack. So now what?
It's death or glory, isn't it?
H3.
Rook h3. You're going to put all your major pieces on the h file, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to play rook e6. You're going to rook e6
Because I've
h6.
got
You're going to play
Queen
queen
d3 at
h5.
the end if the king tries to escape.
g5 he played.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, I think it's an excellent move.
Yeah. Isn't it?
It normally is G5.
hard to
Actually, it's better
find.
move one.
Well, Calais has actually played 1H4.
So g5. Okay, so 2 points to it. What are they?
He creates another flight square for the king.
Should it be needed? Point number 1 and point number 2.
Going to G4 and then the rook's
G4.
coming on the H file.
Yeah, that's it. G4, rook h3, and then triple on the h file, and he can't stop mate. Chess is a simple game.
Yeah.
White
for us,
wasn't
we
too,
get the
White
move
wasn't
order
too
wrong.
happy about that.
And he played G4.
Played G4.
Mm.
Queen h7 is a slightly unusual.
What a clenching moment.
Queen g3.
Ooh.
Rook h3. There's a check.
Yes, he's got to play the check, isn't he?
Now White suddenly finds to his cost that his king is rather lacking in
Crafty.
defenders. King g2. Very bold. Well, now what? Now what?
For God's sake.
Now you have to find the killer move, which
Rook f6.
Calais
Queen
completely
e4
overlooked,
check.
I think.
Queen e4.
Queen e4 check. King
Yeah,
takes rook h6.
It's a beautiful move, isn't it?
Oh.
White resigned.
That work.
Oh.
No move.
Oh, I see. He's got no.
Can he take on H3?
He can take an h3 and hope for the heart attack. Unfortunately,
Queen
Queen
f3.
f3 is quite strong.
King H2, yeah. And then
Will he have a heart attack in the next 2
Rook
seconds?
Rook H6, yeah.
Probably not.
Rook down.
Wow.
On the off chance that Yusupov wouldn't see that, I suppose Calais could have played on, but preferred to resign.
Well, actually, a cow would tramp over the moon.
Another outstanding game, you
Yeah.
know, because to fashion that attack from almost nowhere took some doing.
Yeah. Didn't he help by moving his queen away?
Well, we have to go back a bit here. Here, right?
So if we accept the
What if he plays, say,
Well, he
f3? Was f3 possible?
f3. Hang on a minute. Yes, it's possible, but
Rook H3.
I think you've got to come in here. Yes, with this idea. Yeah.
Yep.
the attack plays itself, as I used to say.
I think there's no move, is there? You cannot get your queen into the attack. I mean, you give a check, but so what? You can't defend against this move. I just don't see how you do it. So you just go back one further. Could he have played another move apart from G4?
Can he play rook, King F1?
Do a runner. Well, we'll give a check.
Yeah, we can check.
Yeah.
And G4 next. I'm pretty sure that's coming. Definitely the check to stop him from running away.
Yeah.
And then what's he going to do? We've got any suggestions?
King goes back to G1 now.
Then we go there, don't we? Pin him in. Pin him down.
Rook E2 is his only move.
Rook E2?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's ghastly, isn't it?
Horrible.
I think we do that as well. He's struggling to find moves. I mean, the point is, you might suddenly walk this pawn up forward. Broad daylight in a minute. If you've got no other mating plans, because how's he going to stop the passed pawn? It's a beautiful game in many ways. Beautiful game. The minority attack was halted.
Yep.
Right, so this is a game by Magnus Carlsen, very fitting, and he's playing a grandmaster from, I think it's the UAE, Salam A.R. Saleh. I'm not sure where he comes from, but whether it's Saudi Arabia or wherever, but I think it is the UAE. And it's quite an interesting game where pawn structure plays a role. Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yep.
Yes,
Right, you're going to play white, and we're going to put the chat on. So when you've got your move, all you do, you add it in the chat. And you make sure that you give your move only to me.
How do you do that?
I'll jump
Yeah, chat message to Andrew Martin.
Well, there's a drop down. When you do chat, it says to, and then there's a drop down. The default selection is everyone.
Everybody.
You need to click off that, unclick everyone. Well, sorry, you just click Andrew, and then it says direct message.
Right, got that.
I've got a message from Paul Bloom.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
So he said, Paul sent that to everyone, but what you're seeking to do is to send a direct message just to Andrew with your
All right, let's go.
Well, not everybody understands that so easily, Paul. It took me a while to get it together, but there, I'll get rid of that. Just put it in the chat. Right, okay, so Carlson is white in this game, and he opens with one of his favourite systems currently, the dreaded London system.
Oh, no.
Enough to make a player's heart sink when you see somebody play that on the opposite side of the board. Anyway, not all doom and gloom. Black played G6 and white now played knight C3, which is the Jabava London system. Black played D5.
Yep.
So already white's got this hook in the position, what I call a hook. It's a pawn lever, E4. Can he get that move in at the right moment? We'll see. Does it have any bearing on the position? Probably not at this point. Knight F3. And this brings us to the Barry attack, which I've just finished a DVD on ChessBase for. And so I've managed to learn something about it.
Mark Hebden came up with that.
Now, white has no less than 4 options in this position. And you will get 25 points for identifying each of the 4 main lines. So you have to write 4 different options in the chat. And if one of them is the main line featured on the DVD, I will give you 25 points. There are 4 different moves here which have become known as main lines here. So when you think you've got the answer, put them in the chat.
3 of them. Oh, hang on. No, he could double.
Sorry, did someone say
you have to give 4 separate moves, not just one.
Oh.
Yeah, do we send the message to everyone or to just
No, just to me, for heaven's sake, just to me.
Just to you. Okay.
Unless you're trying to sell a dummy, you're trying to deliberately steer people in the wrong direction.
Where it says direct message, shall I click it?
No, you just write underneath it.
All right, I've done that.
You press return.
And I've got your moves, James. I've got your moves.
Well, it's pretty enlightening for you, Andrew, but I didn't know you did.
Yeah, thank you. That's good.
Have you got mine, Andrew?
Yes, yeah. I'll just wait for everybody to have a go, and then we'll mark the moves up. How well do you know the Barry attack? Is the question.
Who knows why it's called Barry?
Mark
Hebden,
who described it as a load of Barry.
Yeah, meaning
any Tom, Dick, or Barry can play it.
No, it was Barry bullshit.
Yes, it is that. It is as
It's nothing to do with a place in Wales, anyway. I'll tell you that.
I didn't know that, but you're right. Yes, but at the time I didn't know.
You'll be very pleased to know. You'll be very pleased to know.
Barry.
The chess-based DVD, I managed to avoid using that vulgar word. I managed to describe it in a more polite way. Of course, you're totally right. That was the meaning of the word Barry.
From Mark Hebden.
I don't know whether it was Norwood or Hebden or Hodgson. I won them. Right, here we go. So the moves are, let's have a look. We've got knight b5, we've got e3, we've got h3, and we've got e3. So Paul Bloom, let's have a look what we got. Colin Pern's only put 1 move down. Have you put the rest down after that?
No, I have, Andrew, yeah.
Right, James Pratt gets 75 points. John Upham gets 75 points.
Ooh.
And Andrew Smith. Is it Andrew P? Is that Andrew Smith?
Yeah.
75
Right.
points.
And he's Irish. He is.
Is that relevant?
Paul Sloan has got 50 points. Paul Bloom's putting his moves down one by one, which is quite annoying.
Sorry.
It's all right. 1, 2,
Just being careful.
3.
Is Jacob Aguilar?
Okay, he's got 75 points, Paul Bloom. Let's have a look what we got here. Tim Davis has got also 75 points. Nobody's got the 100 points so far. James State has got 25. Mike Gunn has got 75.
So H3 is one of the top moves here, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm surprised.
Steve
by that.
Harley, 75. Colin Purden, 75. Missing knight b5, the Duffers move.
Makes a change.
Harry Duff has got 75. And Peter Davey has got 50. And Paul Janota has got 75. John Lydon. Wow, this is the only question that's going to have 4 different moves. 75 for John Lydon. Nobody's got the full. Mark Payne's got 75. And
So what are the 4 moves again, please?
We don't yet know.
hang on, Christine
What have I got,
Coates. I'm
Andy?
still going through the list. Give me a chance.
Right.
Christine Coates got 50. Martin Warman, 50. And Philip has got 50. Right. Well, the moves are.
What
The
about
moves
me?
are. Huh?
That includes
Got
me.
nothing, Colin.
Well,
you got
I can't see your entry. That's why.
You've got
Oh, really? I
minus
thought I
25.
sent it to you.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
I'm
you
If
did.
I go to the post office, you did the letter didn't get through.
I thought you just
You got the wrong type of stamp.
I thought you
75.
just hit where it put enter.
Yeah, it's fine. 75. I found it. Anybody I've missed out?
75.
Yeah, me.
Who's that?
Gordon.
Good, good. I couldn't see where to get through to you, so I put them down. But
Oh, Colin. Sorry, Gordon. Yeah. What moves do you want to play then? Just say. them.
A3, H3, Queen D2, and H3.
You said H3 twice.
No.
Well, it's such a strong move.
Can't get double points for it.
So strong they played it twice.
H2 alarm, H3.
Just like Jack Nicholson.
50 points for Colin. 50 points. 50 points for Gordon. 50 points.
Right, next.
Well, okay. The most common move in the original barrier attack is E3.
Right.
That's the move that Carlson plays in this game. Queen D2 is Tarzan attack. Don't ask me where it gets that name.
Primitive.
It's known as the Tarzan attack.
Johnny Weissmuller.
Then knight B5 is,
Tough as me.
funnily enough, the move that I think gives back the most problems.
But I rejected that because of knight A6.
Yeah.
Well, that's why knight B5 wasn't discovered for a long, long time.
There's more to it than meets the eye.
There's much more to it than meets the eye. Yes, black has to play knight A6, and then you go E3. And it looks like, actually, black is gaining time. But he has to expend a lot of time getting that knight to a good square. So it's a very strange variation where white often regains the time he loses quite quickly because black has to spend a lot of time getting that knight to a good square. It's on a rotten square at the moment. Very weird line. Leveronian's won quite a few games with this move. And I would urge you to investigate if you like the barrier attack because it's probably the best move. And the other move, of course, is H3, the good old, not the London system move. And not the very soft attack move. It's something. It's
Pawn
a
storm.
system.
What about H4?
Well,
bit early for that kind.
Just
Oh, these days they're not.
that might come later. That might come later in this game.
They're all playing that now.
Anyway, E3 was the move, and black castled. Bishop to E2. And now, by far, the most common move here is what? Does anybody know?
C5.
H5.
Yeah,
C5.
C5 is the most common move, which
Very
actually
nice.
Sully doesn't play. And the main reason, well, can anybody say what the main reason might be? Why is that the best move?
It attacks the centre.
And does what?
Allows knight to c6.
Knight comes to c6. The queen might come to b6.
Yes, it allows free development of black's queenside pieces.
It inhibits white from castling queenside.
Well, you just stated a number of reasons why it should be played. But anyway, Sully doesn't do that. In this game, he plays bishop g4.
Yeah, knight. Okay.
Which is supposed to be a very solid move here. Just trying to reduce white's attacking power, potential attacking power, take the knight. It's a somewhat simplistic way to play the position. Right, okay, so let's try and guess Carlson's next move. Okay, over to you. How are you going to tackle this?
Just one move this time.
Just one move this time, and from now until the end, one move. I think this was recommended in a couple of repertoire books as an easy solution for black. But Carlson will show that it's not so easy.
Do we send our move to you?
Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah, what do you think? Right, please make your move. What will you do? Everybody had a go?
Diddle for diddle.
Martin Warman, you've had 2 moves in a row for black. Would you like to retract your move and try again? Okay, time up. Right, okay, so white's got, I'm very pleased to say, 3 reasonable moves here. And all of you seem to have played one of them. Now in the game, Carlson played knight e5, so we're going to give that 20, we're going to give that 25 points.
Hey.
Coming a close second are obviously h3 and castles, so they both get 20 points.
Oh.
Let's have a look at this. Just say this: h3, black takes, white takes. Now, who did that? Who played h3?
Yeah.
Somebody speak up.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what would be your plan to open up the game for white in this position?
Queen e2 and castles queenside.
And then what?
E4 eventually.
Yeah, we're looking at the move e4 here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Changing the pawn structure to open up the game for the 2 bishops. This is the way white would make progress in a position like this. And I suppose the other move is castles. Absolutely nothing wrong with that move.
Sound as a pound, but it maybe not playing the sharpest move. It depends. Maybe the time limit would influence what I would play.
Well, you'll see why Carlson doesn't castle kingside in a moment. Anyway, plonks his knight in there. Black takes it. White recaptures with the queen, and now black plays c6.
Andrew, can I just go back a move or two?
Right, here we go. Tell me when to stop.
Was knight d2 an option? I was thinking that looked quite attractive to
Oh yeah.
To play. Well, presumably bishop takes, queen takes, and then play for f3 and e4. Because you're going to get e4 in that way.
It just looks a bit.
You've got to watch out. You've got to watch the pawn on d4.
D4.
You've got to watch the pawn on d4. But there must be a way to organise that. I would have thought.
Knight c6. I don't.
Yeah.
The move I want to play is c5. I'm getting away with it. Oh, maybe you could do this. I mean, I think the barrier attack was formed. One of the pillars of the barrier attack is to put the knight in on e5.
Mm.
For reasons I can't disclose just yet, but I'm sure you probably all know them. Oh, knight d2 must be okay. It just looks a little bit passive in comparison with knight e5.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Right, okay. What did Magnus play next?
Oh,
This is the game. I personally don't like what Black is doing here. I think he's playing too passively. But c6 has definite ideas. I mean, you can bring the queen out to b6. That's one idea. Hitting b2. You could maybe bring the queen out to a5, which is knight e4 becomes a possibility. You could just go knight bd7 to challenge this knight. So Black has got some ideas.
Are we guessing now, Andrew?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We're guessing Magnus's style.
Right, you can't hedge your bets in this. You can't hedge your bets, Paul Stone. You've got to declare a move. You can't play two moves.
First answer counts, doesn't it?
James Pratt has had two moves in a row for Black.
Have I?
Well,
No,
you play Queen B6, and as far as I know the rules of chess, that's illegal. It's also not.
I'm so sorry. I thought it was Black's move. I knew.
As Black,
Very
I would
Queen.
happily, I would accept that move if you played it as Black.
So it's white. It's White's move in this position.
yeah, Black's played
Yeah.
c6.
Black moved last. Does that give you a clue?
Well, the arrow's on the board.
I always like making people laugh, but anyway.
You've got a 50% chance of getting it right.
I did have a guy who tried to play two moves against me once.
Yeah, that was Joe French.
No, it wasn't.
Was it King G1 and Rook F1, Colin?
Oh yeah, the old King lead.
Well, actually, Alec Castle also did the same thing once, didn't he? And he even got away with it.
Yeah, but he's got a
He played G3 and Bishop G2 on the same move.
Yeah, I think
Can
he
we get
did.
on with it, please? I'll be here till midnight. Please make your work.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I've moved.
Okay, so you don't like my fan, I'm sorry.
You've got a fan.
Christine, I'm a fan of yours.
Right, okay. Here we go. Please make your
Don't
move.
tell Ken.
I think it looks like a clear choice between h4 or castle on the queen side.
Yeah.
But I think somebody played g4. I think it
Me,
was Steve
yeah.
Harley played g4.
Surely Gordon played G4.
And me.
Hey,
Gordon
Carson.
always plays G4.
Delayed grob.
No,
the
Gordon,
way
which side
Carson
did you
played.
castle? You castle on the queen side. You castle on both sides here.
No,
At the same
it's
time.
passive to cast on the king side.
And you
Magnus
picked
would
up
never
the
do
rook
that.
Right,
first.
that's it. Here we go. Magnus played the unsurprising h4. 5 points.
Ooh.
I still like G4 better.
And me, Paul.
How many points?
25 for h4.
How
And
many
now
now
let's-
castles long?
Can we award
Well,
the
okay,
prize?
castle's long. Oh, on castle's long, if I'm Black, I cheerfully play queen a5.
Yeah.
Followed by b5.
Yeah, but how many points do I get for it?
Well, I want to. Before I do that, I want to assess this position. I mean, what does he play? King b1.
Yeah, b5.
Okay, now I go
And then
knight b7. I think.
Mm.
I think you haven't gained over the last couple of moves, have you?
Black's
Can't
getting
play
moving.
b5, can I?
Black's getting into the game.
More points for G4 than Carsten, surely.
10 points. 10 points for casting queenside only.
All right.
Now g4. Let's have a look.
That looks good.
If you
On
say so.
second thoughts,
Pretty tremendous.
Okay,
huh?
right.
I
Okay.
like
then.
H4.
Just a minute. Scorched earth policy. That shut you up. I don't think it's so easy to bash through there with that pawn on G4.
Well, H4's coming, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I suppose it is. You say so.
Yeah.
G4's on the right track. I give it cool 15 points. But H4 is the barrier attack in full flight.
They always play H4 now.
Well, what should Black do in defence? This is the question. Should he go H5 or not? Again, it's one of those questions, isn't it? It's one of those questions. Anyway, Saleh played in the end H5. Like the Dragon after H4. Should you play H5 or not? Right. Well, I'm sure there are a number of people out there frothing at the mouth. So, what happened next?
Can we stick with the same move, or do we have to put it in again?
Several people in a quiz like this have often played the same move after move until it was actually played.
Yeah, that's my policy.
But what happens if it wasn't played? Is the question that I'm asking.
Okay, let's put it in.
Don't forget, your opponent is rated 27.93 at Blitz, which means it's quite reasonable.
Patzer.
That is quite good, isn't it?
Well, when you consider Magnus's rating was 3,040 at the time of this game, so vastly inflated internet ratings.
Oh, this is online, is it?
Yeah, I'm afraid it is. But I mean, if Black just sits there and allows you to play H5, you get the barrier attack in all its glory, don't you?
Yeah.
So Queen F3, Queen H3, Pawn takes G6, Bishop H6. It doesn't take much imagination to play those moves. So Black's got to try and stop it. By the way, the barrier attack's a pretty good system for club players because it's really easy to play. It's not difficult.
Aaron did a very successful DVD on this, didn't he, years ago?
Didn't he write a book on?
Yeah, the
Killer Chess Repertoire.
Killer Chess Repertoire, one of the best opening books ever, actually.
Yeah, which recommended a whole arsenal of these Queen's Pawn systems. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's have a look. We've got a load of new messages. They're all frothing at the mouth, wanting to go G4, aren't they?
Right.
Ironically, Gordon didn't play G4.
That's what I was going to do.
Are you going to do it this time?
Yeah.
Good man. Good man. The question is, did White play it? We've got a Bishop G5. We've got castles on the Queen's side. Christine Coates. F3 from James Pratt. And everybody else has gone with the psycho move, G4.
Caveman attack.
What did he play? G4! Don't try and write the present.
Paul and I are just ahead of our time.
Yeah.
25 points.
Well, funny enough, this is the problem with us weaker players, that we get the right moves just in the wrong order.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this seems very direct to me. And fully earns 25 points. Castles on the Queen's side, can't be much wrong with that. Magnus does that in a minute. 20 points. F3, 20 points. Again, on the right track. But when you attack, you have to attack with speed. And he's given you a hook on his pawn formation. Just remember that. So you go for it. You know, let's get the action going. Black played knight BD7. White played F3, which is why I gave it points last time. Black played E6, a very passive looking move. Castles on the Queen side. So you had all the ingredients. You had all the ingredients for the recipe. Just a question of how you mix them
Cook
up.
it up.
Queen E7. Okay, now what? Over to you. I remember somebody said whenever pawns come into contact, whenever the pawn structure comes into contact with each other, then's the time to have a long think. It's that tension on G4 and H5 that gives this position a bit of spice.
Reminds me of the Yugoslav attack in the Dragon.
There are definite similarities.
Yeah, there are.
So you should be able to find the right move, Colin.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
A3, obviously.
I'll give you a clue. It's unlikely to be A3.
That's right.
Stops Queen B4.
That's
Are you
probably
giving it
the
away
black
now?
wants you to play.
I think we've got a number of serious cavemen and women in the audience here. So one move, two moves are particularly popular.
Are they all hacky moves?
Great minds think alike. Everybody voted? Everybody voted? Is that it? Right, okay, so I think the majority went for Rook DG1. Again, shunting pieces into the business zone. Bishop G5, that could be a very unpleasant pin.
Yeah, I like that.
And the other one was E4. Paul played E4. Why did you play that one, Paul?
I guess trying to open up.
Yeah, just wondering.
You open up your own thing.
I don't know. It looked.
No, I'm just
different
trying
to the
to.
others,
What
yeah.
if I can I take it, maybe? What do you do?
Yes, you can. But I mean, hang on.
I was probably going to take with.
The knight.
Well, if you take it with the knight, I'll get a few pieces off the board, can't I?
That's right.
I was probably originally thinking F take, but then you probably can win the G pawn, can't you? Maybe?
I think I probably chop that off, don't I?
Yeah, and then
Aren't
you
I
probably got
blocking your attack
G4.
now? I think so, yeah.
Mm.
Oh yes.
Probably closing up the king side.
E4, 0 points.
Oh, good. I'm glad about that. I thought he was going to say 34.
Magnus played Rook to G1, 25 points.
Yeah.
Now, the other move, Bishop G5. Let's take a look at this. I mean, to me, that looks quite uncomfortable. I'm going to have to move my queen. So clearly, he's going to put it over there. Okay, so what's the follow-up?
Knight takes D7.
If only White had played A3.
Knight takes D7.
Oh, yeah, you're going to do this, aren't you?
Now take on H5.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the idea.
How absolutely disgusting.
Disgusted and proud.
This looks terrible. I think I better go back and just have another move.
Well, did you have knight B6 there, to be fair? Or
Bishop
wasn't that very good?
G5. Let's have a look. Why didn't he do that?
He's a duffer.
Because he thought the other move.
It was only a blitz game. He didn't see that far ahead, maybe.
No, he's only playing one move ahead.
You probably thought both moves were equally good, Andy.
These 3,000 rated players are overrated.
Yeah.
Well, can anybody see anything wrong with that move? Personally, I don't.
I think that's worth more than Magnus's move.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and
100
defend
points.
myself.
45,
I'm going to show some courage here. I'll take that.
H5.
Yeah.
Well,
Take on G4.
Just what with, though?
yeah, good question.
Mm.
All your might.
Could do with the knight, yeah.
The knight. Right, now I'm going to shit. Now I will move the queen over here.
Yeah.
This has to be, but this is definitely better than the game. So
Mm.
probably go with the pawn
Just H5.
and queen over here again. H5.
Yeah, H5.
Yeah, H5, yeah.
5. Okay, well, I'll take it. Take back.
Mm.
6. Yeah.
Mhm.
Take this.
Oh.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Rook D4.
Rook H4.
Yeah, Rook D4.
Rook D4.
Oh, Rook D4, yeah.
Rook D4. Got to win something.
Quite strong. So can I take with the queen then? Last desperate solution. No, it loses a piece.
Takes knight.
Okay, then I've got to go there. I haven't got any choice.
Okay, what's going on here?
Taking that, I think.
Well, I'm trying desperately to survive. That's what's going on.
Well, knight takes knight.
Knight takes
Pawn
9.
takes
Now,
pawn.
can I take with the queen?
What happens after rook d4?
I take your e pawn.
That's e pawn. Yeah, good point.
I knew that really.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I didn't.
What
See
about
that.
h6?
Notice how we are not turning on any engine here. We're exposing ourselves to making mistakes. You probably got the engines running at home.
Do we still have bishop f4 and g5 here? Is that an idea?
It's an idea.
Yeah, it's a bad one probably, but
I don't know.
queen 5. Yeah, not as good as I'd hoped, I must admit.
God knows. God knows. Anyway, I'm going to give bishop g5 25 points as well because I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Well, Magnus put his rook in to g1.
Yeah, that's what I go.
Must be a good move.
Must be.
You probably
Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Not dissimilar to what we've looked at. Knight takes knight. Bishop takes knight. Knight d7. Bishop g7. King g7. Over to you.
Suicide, isn't it?
Well, now we're actually coming into a sort of situation where white's got two hooks on black's pawn formation, h5 and e4, and black has got c5 and e5, so there are possibilities for both players. I mean, if you think h5 is just the normal, you can just bash out h5 here, then I'm not sure what's going on.
So he's going to play rook. Well,
You've got to think about this more carefully, I think. It's not totally straightforward. It is all about the pawns fashioning an attack. Now, how best to play them. Quite interesting, this position.
Oh,
sorry.
I actually don't think it's that easy.
Oh, I need to change my move then.
Did you play h5 by any chance?
No.
Oh, g5 then.
A3.
G5, yeah.
G5, yeah.
Prophylaxis, A3, yeah.
I've been trying to play it all game.
Has gained in popular entertainment.
Well, it's interesting. Most of you have gone g5.
I think
and
a
few have gone e4. Not a single person has gone h5, which is interesting.
Put us off.
Let's okay. So let's ask somebody who played g5. Let's pick a random person. Is Mike Gunn there?
Yes, I'm here. Yep.
Okay. So why did you go g5?
Because h5 is going to follow. Because one response to h5 is he plays g4, and then if you play, if you push the pawn up again, he just hides the king on h7.
You mean something like
G5.
this, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you didn't like that for white.
And also it stops the knight coming into f6.
And was queen d3 check there?
Yeah, that's true. I just seen that. Yeah.
What's happening after queen d3 check?
Can't he go f5?
So
in here, this position you mean?
Yeah.
Can he not go there?
Yeah.
White.
Yeah.
Take with the rook.
And then you need to keep your eye on the e pawn.
Okay, let's. Yeah.
Yep, that's playable.
Well, not only playable, I think white might be worse.
Worse.
Yeah.
Well, your pawns are more vulnerable, aren't
Well,
they?
the e3 pawn's pretty nasty.
Exactly.
So I'm not sure about that. I think your instinct and judgment is quite spot on there. And we've got a few e4s. So is Tim there? Tim Davis?
Hello.
Seeing what you've seen, do you prefer g5 or would you still stick with e4?
I was sticking with e4.
And the points of it, what's the idea?
Well, I think if we play G5, then black can play E5, countering in the centre. Whereas this move, it immediately threatens to go to E5.
Something like that.
Well, it actually immediately threatens to win the pawn, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Once you threaten to take twice here.
Yes.
That's
right.
Queen's
This queen's unprotected.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely got to be a candidate move.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come to the big reveal here. What did Magnus play?
Probably did play for
G5, 25 points.
I did play G5.
No. But I do like E4. I'm going to give that 20 points.
It got 0 a few moves ago.
I hate to tell you this, but the position's changed.
That was on move 1, Paul.
But can't black simply play rook h8 here?
He did. You're right on the ball, Colin. Right on the sorry, you ball. Right on the ball. Okay, so
the ball, Paul.
What next? What next?
Did I get any points for H5 or instead of G5? Or
Oh, did you play? You actually played H5?
Yeah.
Don't sound so sad. It can't be that bad.
You played rook h8 against Andy.
Well, I was certainly thinking about that. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't feel I needed to play that. You know.
Just play rook h8, maybe.
I think that's a cool move, actually. Why not?
Yeah.
The attack flows more easily once you play G5, I feel, rather than H5. Because how are you going to get through it?
Oh, pawn takes pawn.
Yeah, but then
you just take that.
Everything's swapping off.
Why not? I mean, you've got to play something like this here.
Yeah.
And then he can give a check. It's quite annoying.
That's fizzling out, isn't it?
It's not so easy to get in. So H5 must be okay, but I'm only going to give it 10. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Apologise for that. Anyway, G5, rook H8. Now what?
Are we guessing again?
We certainly are.
Okay.
Okay, it's getting harder now.
The 2793 is defending reasonably well.
You wouldn't think that, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
Resourceful.
These internet ratings are grossly overinflated. I think he's only 2600 Elo.
Okay.
Oh,
you can change your move, James, if you want to. You're welcome to do that.
Okay, well, in which case, yes.
Okay, here we go. So right, I think the majority verdict here is to play E4 with a few H5s thrown in and a rook F1. The guy who played rook F1, who is it? It's Philip. Why there?
There's nothing on the G file now. You're not getting in.
Are you planning to attack F7?
Yeah, looking at F7.
Well, if I was black, I think I'd play my first active move of the game against that.
E5.
D5, I think.
Right.
And then what are you going to do? Rook F4 or something like that? I don't know. How are you going to get in?
F4.
Rook F4. Now, can I... F4. Rook F4. Can I trick you? How are we going to do this? I'm just feeling that black's getting a bit of play together here. Takes.
Queen takes G5.
No, it's very easy to sacrifice somebody else's pieces. Famous saying.
No, because he's got the knight back to D1.
Yeah,
It's certainly photogenic.
What? Okay, so rook F1, I'm going to give that 15 points. In the game, Magnus played E4, 25 points. Congratulations.
Whee.
Well done. And now we have to play H5. So let's have a look at this. Well, the first thing comes to my mind is to take everything off.
Yep.
So what if I take with the rook?
Sure.
Oh.
Rook takes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
G takes. Now what? Given that I'm going to play this move next, probably.
Yeah.
Get away.
Can you play G6?
G6.
Well, okay, I'm going to take that as well. Eh? You take
Queen
this.
takes H.
Queen takes.
Yes, but I don't believe this somehow.
Queen H6. Queen F6, rather.
I don't think this is too difficult to defend against.
Mm.
On top of that, I'm now pawn up.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I look forward to winning this 120 moves. Yeah, torture for you. It's going to be a very pleasant experience.
Yeah. Yep.
So perhaps that's not what White wants. So takes rook H8. Do you know what? I think I'm okay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, black's fine.
I think black
Probably
is all
going to
right.
play C5 or E5 next.
I might play E5 in a minute. Finally get my act together and connect with your pawn chain.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's probably the reason why White doesn't go H5.
Yeah.
So only 10 points for that. I think that's mistimed. But E4 on the other hand is very well timed.
Yeah.
And let's have a look.
To win a pawn again.
James State, you played E4. Can you just take us through that?
James,
yeah. Sorry?
Just got to unmute myself.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, I still got the idea of, I mean, it's threatening to win a pawn.
Indeed.
In some, it's, well, I mean, again, it could possibly be combined with ideas of putting pressure on the F file. You can maybe at some stage even get E5 in, possibly, and get a lot of control over F6, although you probably want to open it up a bit more.
Well, he's got to defend against your threat first, which is pawn takes pawn.
Rook E8.
E8.
He played C5. Trouble with Black's position is very passive, isn't it? You just got to sit there and watch. As the other guy, I mean, somebody was it Rook E8 you were suggesting? Do you know what? I think Magnus might play Rook E1 against that, and maintain the threat. And if something like Queen B4, just go Queen F2. Black can't do anything. Well,
he's alive.
It's kind of living death.
Still breathe.
E5. Take down.
Well, maybe this is possible. I don't know.
That bad? You really think it's lost?
I don't know. It looks better for White to me. I don't know how much. It's certainly a position White can enjoy, whereas Black is suffering a bit. But maybe it's defendable. Right. Well, anyway, this guy played mercifully for us because it shortened the game. C5. White played Queen F2. Black took on E4. White recaptured. Black took on D4. White recaptured. E5. Right. Okay. Over to you.
Okay.
Where should white put his queen?
Two options, I think.
Several options for sure. Most people like queen f2. There's a queen d6 there. A centralization with queen d5. But the vast majority of people have gone for queen f2.
Yeah.
Has everybody voted yet?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people go for queen d6. Okay, so let's see the game first. Magnus played queen e3. Nobody got it. Time tonight. Hoorah.
I was looking at that.
Oh, come on. What?
That's what they all say.
Want my money
What
back.
sort of patzer is played white here?
Get on, world champion.
What's the point of queen e3?
Well, very good question. I was going to ask you that.
Well, it kind of points at e5 if black helps.
No.
It stops knight c6.
White has 3 moves in a row. Can probably.
No, well, it also protects the knight against attack, doesn't it? It's the first time nobody's got the move. Quite interesting to see. Queen f2 anyway, 20 points. Queen d6, 20 points. I'm going to be generous here. Queen d5, 20 points. But nobody got queen e3.
How much is queen f2, Andrew?
20.
Thank you.
So rook ac8 here, maybe.
Rook ac8 was played.
Do I get any points for that?
No. Just get out now.
For all I know, you've got Fritz 25 running on your computer.
Oh, it's Alec Haslet. Okay.
King b1.
Oh well, that's obvious.
4.
He wants to play. You wanted to play queen takes a7.
Queen e2. Queen b4.
Ooh.
Right. Okay. It looks as though black's getting into this game. Could Magnus be mucking this up? All right. Back to you.
Yeah.
Why didn't black play rook hc8? Is that just putting his rook on the wrong square?
Here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's actually putting his rook on the wrong square.
Or maybe just c3. Yeah, maybe just c3. Yeah, never mind.
And then h5's coming.
Yeah.
I just somehow, my instincts tell me that moving that rook away from h8 could spell serious problems for you in a minute.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I think I have to just defend here, don't I? I have to make one move of defense.
Yeah.
And then now h5 is a serious. What's your next move?
Rook h8.
Queen takes rook. Thank you very much. Good
Fair comment.
Ask a silly question.
That sort of line I could deal with. Right, okay. So perhaps that helps to explain why, surprisingly, he protected his rook.
Oh, Colin's on fire tonight.
Only
Hey,
played a3.
now what?
I like a3.
Not now. Don't play a3 now.
I would have lost his queen 3 times.
You lose your entire score.
So what did black?
White to move. White to move. Black's just played queen b4, attacking the knight.
Yeah, the knight is what we say en prie. Right.
You're having a laugh. Having a laugh, some of these people.
Giraffe.
Showing absolutely no regard for
anything,
life and limb,
anything at all.
Oh, I've just noticed something. Oh,
is it guessing time?
Yeah, you got to guess the next white's move.
Okay.
This is not so easy. So.
A lot of wacky races people here want to play knight f6.
Help. That's Penelope Pitstop.
Interesting.
How to defend everything? Probably wrong, but
Please make your move.
Indeed.
We've got a wide selection of moves here. Some people are going knight d6. Wow.
That's surreal.
knight d6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but is it any good?
Not.
A lot of people have gone knight f6.
Well, now you're talking. That's quality stuff.
There's rook e1, rook g4, queen d3, a huge selection of moves.
Rook g4.
Magnus played rook e1. Well done.
Yes.
Both of you. You played that for 25 points.
What? Oh,
Boring.
As the game finishes quite quickly, I wouldn't say it was too boring. So rook e1, yes. Now let's have a look at this move, knight d6 first of all.
I nearly played knight d6, but I changed my mind.
Well, I mean, to me, it's just
The
a
H
flat
pawn
move.
drops, doesn't it?
What drops?
Take h4.
H pawn.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering what's wrong with that. Have these customers seen this move? They're thinking of queen f2, but then he goes rook f4. So I think I will do it.
Oh, I saw rook f4.
Hey?
Yeah, well, you can play rook f4 as well, but if I can take the pawn, I'm going to. Just like that. I've been suffering the whole game. Now it's time to turn the tables.
Yes, yes.
What was your answer to this move? And I'm going to put you on the spot, Steve Harley, who played knight d6.
Oh, I just assumed Black would play queen takes knight and overlook queen takes rook. Because it's short of time.
Knight d6, 0 point. 0.
Bad.
That's harsh.
Rook g4. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, what was wrong with this?
Pinning the rook.
Well,
the
you
knight
put
can
yourself
drop
in a
back to
self-pin,
C2.
right? You put yourself in a self-pin. So,
Well, the knight can drop back on it to F2.
Knight c5 then?
Can you play f5 here?
Knight c5 here, maybe?
f5, I'm thinking that's a really radical move.
En passant.
Yeah, but then knight takes.
You might not know the en passant rule because you haven't.
Because it's only 2,700.
Yeah, but
Actually, quite a good move.
So Carlson would have to not know the en passant rule.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
In Norway, they maybe don't play it.
No, because it's.
I was just thinking the knight can drop back to F2 to defend.
Well, f6, I would have thought.
Right, well, let's refute this first of all.
Well, exactly.
Queen f3.
Knight f6.
I take the knight then, don't I?
The check
take
doesn't.
the
Yes,
rook.
you do. Sorry. Yeah. I don't
Well.
check out up to
Well,
now.
I mean, you can try something like this. I don't know. What's going on here? What's going on here?
Oh.
What's happening?
Now H5.
h5.
Well, you don't seem to care about things at chess. H5, so that was an extraordinary move.
Rook h4.
Threatening H6.
Yeah, rook h.
H6 now.
Rook
Threatening mate.
h1, mate.
H1.
Oh, yeah.
Check.
No, it's got.
That's looks like game over somehow. Maybe it's only a draw by perpetual check.
No.
So Rook G4's winning then.
I can't refute it. It's late at night. I'm going to give you a kind 15 points. I do not like it as much as Rook E1 for reasons that will become clear in the game. Now, Martin Wallman played A3, correct? Is that right? He's clearly
And
trying
lost the
hard
knight.
not to win that
That's
book.
lost.
Rook takes e4.
Yeah, lost the knight.
Have you got any comments on that?
If only White had played that earlier.
Keep it clean. I can't give A3. Have I missed anybody out?
Yes, me.
Yeah, me. But what I played wasn't very good.
Knight f6.
I played
Oh, yeah,
knight
knight
f6.
Christine played Queen D3, which I think fails to this.
Yeah.
Ouch.
In between move. So I can't give that any points. And we've got what else have we got?
Knight f6.
Yeah, this move. You're coming to that last, right? Now hang on a second. Well, my first thought is to take it. And then you're going to take this, aren't you?
Queen takes.
You're going to take that. Okay, so I'm going to go here.
Oh.
Pawn takes knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
okay.
Now hang on a minute. Okay, I think I can do this.
Rook F1.
Yeah, Queen D6.
H5.
I can draw.
H5.
Oh, draw is fine. Thank you very
Whoever
much. I'm
said
playing
that-
Magnus Carlsen.
The Queen is hanging here.
Whoever said that, get out.
Sorry, no. Instead of
Yeah, H5. Sorry.
So this.
You can take the knight straight.
yeah, Queen takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
This.
H5.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or after pawn takes knight.
I've got to take that.
Well, you can go pawn takes knight.
Rook H5.
Rook takes.
Pawn takes knight check, and then
Take
rook
knight
takes rook.
check.
Takes knight. Okay, hang on a minute.
That looks pretty nifty.
Yes, okay, this.
Rook
Take
H5.
H5.
Rook takes rook.
Queen takes rook.
Or queen take either.
Yeah, but you can back up with the king.
Yes,
Or
I
even queen
see.
takes.
Possible.
Very clever.
Good.
Pretty strong.
Mm.
I didn't see H5.
So H5. Just a minute. H5. Take this first, yeah. Well. Okay, then I'm down to this, aren't
Well,
Queen.
And
Queen
H5.
check.
H5 again.
No, not queen check.
Yeah, check.
H5's got to be H5.
I? And then I've got to try and bail out.
Queen E4.
I'm ending. Yeah, I've got to play this. Yeah. Then Queen B8. I'm afraid. Is the
Queen
end.
B8, yeah.
That looks pretty nifty.
Yeah, it looks strong. Looks strong. Anybody see anything wrong with it? It's getting late at night, so
No.
I might be missing stuff.
I think 75
points.
points for it.
No, 6.
Well, he doesn't have to
Hey.
take, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't. Maybe just ignoring it.
Well, then
Maybe
he just
just
takes
plays
these
knight
seven.
C4.
Well,
Then he
what
goes
does he take?
H5.
I liked it because it was death or glory.
Maybe he just plays knight C5.
You still
Queen
got Queen
take
takes
E5.
E5 there.
No, then Queen takes here.
Yeah, that's just what I
Sorry,
this
not
is what I
there.
wanted.
Or play that.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's an interesting move, all right. It's an interesting move. I wonder why he didn't do it.
We
So
may
100
never-
points, Andrew.
We may never
No,
know.
I can't refute it, so I'm going to give it 25.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, so rook E1, rook C6, A3.
At last.
Queen
At la-
E7.
yeah, come on.
Hurrah.
The move now.
H5, he finally got that one in as well. Rook to C8, H6,
C8.
King H7.
Mm.
Right, back to you.
Hmm.
White's actually made some progress. Why do I say that?
Got pass pawn.
Got a pass ball.
Well, it's not only that, isn't it? It's not only that.
It's got his talons into black, really.
He's got control of the G7 square.
Yeah, and also another key square.
S7 sweet man.
Yes, F7 is also weak. Very good point. And there's also another weakness which White can
E5.
zero in on. Who, where?
F6.
E5 is a
Maybe
weakness.
F6. So can you weave all those ideas together to get the right idea to win?
Yeah.
I think you probably can. Multiple weaknesses on the king side. That pawn on H6 throttling black. Pass pawn, as somebody said. But the rook on H8 is hemmed in more or less, so must be able to win because of that feature.
The criminal should be kept under lock and key.
That's the black king in this instance. Well, if you want to play rook F1, you have to specify which one, John. Most people are going rook HF1, and some of you are playing rook D1. Somebody goes knight F6. straight away. Wow. Does that let black off the hook?
Might do, yeah.
Well, I've just seen another move.
Yes.
You pressed your clock.
Got a really good move here, I think.
Yeah, I've seen a good move.
Yeah.
Now A3.
Well, it had to happen once in your life, you know.
Yeah. Law of averages, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mating. It's mating.
Mating.
Oh, he gives up the queen instead. Well,
Yeah, that's
Gives
right.
up the queen from mating attack. Gold coins shower on the board. I like to see this variation. Right, coming up to time. Well, it needs to be a bit of a toss-up between Rook HF1 and Rook D1, with a few other moves thrown in. There's a Queen F2 thrown in. There's a Rook EF1. There's a Queen G4. Obviously, with the subtle threat.
Cheapo time.
Yeah.
Queen G4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's an
I'm relying on black not spotting.
Got the
queen
same
takes
idea.
eight.
White played. Rook HF1, 25 points.
Wow.
Oh,
I like Queen G4. I like Rook D1. They both get 20
So
points.
do I.
How many?
20 points.
20?
Yeah. I think Queen F2 is not quite as effective because it doesn't hit the knight.
No,
When you
but
hit the knight,
attacks
you're
the
threatening to
A7
take it.
pawn.
Huh?
Attacks the A7 pawn.
That's true. Queen F2 does have the benefit of attacking A7. Why win with a mating attack when you can grind him down over many hours?
Yeah.
What's
When
wrong
we
with Rook
inside
D1?
majority.
What's wrong with what?
D1's stronger, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't Rook D1 stronger than?
I
Well,
thought so.
he's got to protect. He probably did play something like that
Some more subtleties.
and pray.
Yeah, can't you
pray
just
that he
take
can-
it?
Huh?
Take his knight.
Yeah, but why are you doing this? I don't understand it.
Why knight F6?
Maybe maybe just take it, yeah, and take on E5.
Yeah.
Simple as
Then
that.
mate on G7.
The silence.
I agree. It's a very lucky variation for you. Just let me think.
Oh,
it
that's
through.
good.
Lucky.
It works.
We worked it out.
Absolutely winning.
That's really quite quick as well.
You have to give that.
How many points to Rook D1?
20.
50.
20.
Why did it
20.
matter which rook went to F1?
Because the H rook's not doing anything on H1.
Yes.
Right, and the E rook?
Doing a bit more.
Oh, okay.
If they Rook F8, now
That's
White
a
plays
technical
B5, threatening
Something's come back.
Rook C7, Rook D1, the eternal threat of taking the knight. Black now made a mistake, I think. Can you exploit it? Can you see how Magnus more or less wins the game at this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just jot it down in the chat and then I'm sure. How does White win this game?
Oh, okay.
Well, everybody's got the right answer.
Hey!
So far.
6, I think.
25 points. However, I'm going to give Andrew Smith 50 points.
Oh.
Because he's added the bonus move after knight F6.
You didn't ask for that.
I didn't ask for it, but he gave it. He's a kind person. He gave it.
So if we put the
And
bonus
he was
move
on
in
my
the
he was on
chat,
minus 50 to start off with, so I don't think I'm being over generous.
Yeah, I can see the follow up.
yeah.
Right, okay. Has everybody voted? Everybody gets 25 points for that. It was a unanimous verdict. So we're going to have Andrew Smith to triumphantly talk us through the final phase of this game.
Oh, knight. You've just said it, haven't you? Knight F6, check. King moves.
Yeah.
Knight D5, which forks the queen and rook.
That's not very pleasant. A6 he played.
And A6. Okay. In that case, we can play.
You've only got to play one more move and then I resign.
Queen B6.
What?
Knight take
Andrew
E7.
Smith, give him a chance.
Knight take E7. Oh,
He's fighting for points here.
I would be inclined to play.
Oh, knight takes queen.
Simple
Knight
move
takes
like-
queen.
Knight takes queen.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Knight takes queen is possible, yeah, and a knight G6 check.
Yeah,
Mm.
knight
Yeah,
G6
that's
check.
right.
Or just the queen B4. He's probably got several wins.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
Magnus played. I'm going to give you 25 points if you found knight takes queen. Queen B6 was played in the game.
Ooh.
But of course, this move wins as well, doesn't it?
Mm.
In a rather nice way. I rather like that.
Mhm.
Ace the pawn.
Ah, beautiful. And no force on earth is going to stop those pawns.
Mm.
You could have played H7 check earlier, I think.
You're splitting hairs.
I know.
Right, okay. It's time to add up your points, chaps. Add up your
Did
points.
knight F6 get anything?
25.
Oh, thank you.
Right, let's see who won this competition. Now, please be totally honest and put your score in the chat. And I'm going to turn the chat off for the time being, so nobody can see it.
1, 2, 3.
I wasn't keeping
10,
count.
12, 13,
275.
If you've got a single digit score, you probably haven't won.
20,
70, 80,
Keeping
21, 20,
And then you know the answer.
30.
200.
I wouldn't have won it because I didn't have time for knight E7.
I can't believe some of these scores. Got to go back to school to do their addition.
Demand a recount.
Those things I don't want to be all night.
2,400.
Do you want the answer in ELO or ECF, Andrew?
Binary.
You multiply your figure by 8 and add 600, you'll probably win.
It isn't that anymore.
No,
it's
it's not.
changed.
No, it's different.
It's changed, Andrew.
Yeah,
Oh, has it? Oh, what do you do now?
I can't remember the bug.
Well, that's a fat lot of good, isn't it?
No,
It's
no.
times 7.5 plus 650 from memory.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not
It's
doing
different.
that. Right. We have a winner, as they say on general election night. It looks like John Upham has won.
Oh, yeah, but he knew anyway.
What? Sorry about that. I do apologise.
Haven't you got a copy of this book?
He's got one already.
You reviewed it for British Chess News.
Which book?
The Budapest.
Did I see it on eBay the other day?
No, I've still got it.
What was his score?
But wasn't
Budapest
A3
Gambit.
minus 50 or 100?
I never played A3, I have to say.
Neither one.
What score did you get, John?
320.
Oh, well done.
I didn't keep count, so I've no idea.
Who's this guy who got
me neither.
300? Is that James Pratt?
Yes.
You got 300?
Yes, I did.
Some of your extraordinary suggestions.
And I've got the book already. And it's
Oh,
rubbish.
that's good. We can move on to the next one then. Right, this is good. Then a lot of people bought this book.
No, I didn't buy it.
Whatever. What a suggestion.
Can anybody beat 285?
No idea.
285.
Me.
No, it's 275.
Right, I declare the winner to be Steve Harley. Then I think.
Hey,
Is that
What did he get?
285?
Well done, Steve.
A popular winner.
Thank you, John Upham.
Well done.
Or just
Why isn't John the winner then? Okay.
Because I've already got it.
he got the book, and so is James Pratt.
I got it as well.
Yeah, the two people that have got it. It's interesting. That shows how instructive it is.
Yeah.
I've got news for you. The game we looked at was not a beautiful.
QED. I'm totally convinced by that.
Right. Okay. I think that's enough. God, it's 10:20.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks a lot, Andrew.
Well done.
That last bit has to do with pawn structure. I've no idea. But anyway, thank you all very much for attending. I'll make sure this recording is destroyed 5 minutes after the lecture is finished. I wish you all a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, good night.
Farewell.
Cheerio, thanks.